Okay, so definitely got sound and everything. Alrighty, so hello everyone. I'm Tim from Tim's PC, and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. Also, live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you'd like an awesome new PC and you'd like to get put together live, send me a message today. Okay, so on tonight we have a RTX 4060 Ti build. So this is on the cheaper end. I don't typically recommend people spend less than about what you're spending here for this build tonight. And the reason is just because you get so much more for just a little bit more. You know, a lot of people sort of can get a little bit, they don't know where to draw the line in terms of how much to spend. And this is a good example of, ideally in a perfect world, the minimum you'd want to spend on a gaming PC in 2024. So, not obviously, like, if your budget is less, you can definitely make something happen for less. But if you can afford to spend, 1,500 Aussie dollars, something like this is pretty much a good way to go. You don't have to feel too bad about not spending a lot more, because in terms of how much performance you get, it's pretty much in line with what you get, at least up to about a $2,500 spend roughly. So anyway, so what is the build tonight? We'll go through the components and then we'll just crack on with it. So I've got the i5 12400F. It's a 6-core 12-thread CPU. Still a really decent CPU. It's fine when paired with sort of mid-range graphics cards like the RTX 4060 Ti. We've got the Asus Prime H610M-A Wi-Fi. It's the DDR4 version of this motherboard. And of course, with the DDR4 motherboard, we've got a 16GB kit of Corsair Vengeance RGB. It's the Pro SL model, just FYI. Also, make sure you definitely check the model number of your RAM. Make sure it's definitely compatible with the board that you're using and all that, because right now, we're living in the world where you can buy DDR4 and DDR5, and a lot of the memory can sort of look fairly similar to the untrained eye. So make sure that you definitely get the right sort, so you can double check and make sure that model number is definitely a DDR4 or a DDR5. That's especially important when you're buying stuff second hand and you don't have just the package here. In addition to that, we've got an MSI SSD. I haven't actually used one of these before, but they're on for a really good price right now, and they've got a 3-year warranty, so no problems there. So this is the MSI. I'm gonna butcher this word. It's spelled SPATIUM. Spatium M90. I don't like that. I don't feel like that's correct. Oh man, like if anyone knows the correct pronunciation for that, or maybe I did get it right. And so, as we've been talking about, the RTX 4060 Ti, so these PNY cards here are really good value. So if you can pick one up, you can probably keep your build, at as close as possible to that $1,500 price point. And we just got a Thermaltake Light Power 500-watt power supply. It's got a 3-year warranty on it, so it's a decent budget power supply there. So just be aware of units that have just a single 1-year warranty. Some of them can be really cheap and nasty. So as a general rule, if you don't know what you're looking at, I always recommend people don't get a power supply with less than a 3-year warranty on it. Christine's sitting here with her hand up.
Theodore says, ahoy hoy there, Street Jesus.
Hey, Theodore.
He says, been a hot minute, mate. That beard is rocking.
Yeah. It's getting pretty full on. I don't know what I'll do with it.
Matt says, hey, hi mate, good to see you again. Love the beard.
Hey Matt, how you going? Good to have you with us.
Wants to know, did you go to the NoFX final concert in Brisbane?
No, we didn't. But
I really wanted to.
we had
No.
we had seen them. We had seen them multiple times. We saw.
Twice.
Yeah, we saw.
Well, at the River Stage and at Tivoli.
Yeah. You just sidetracked me.
Oh, I'm
what I was
sorry.
saying. Yeah, we saw them and they played The Decline, which is like
cool.
it's like a 20-minute long or 30-minute long song.
Is it really that long?
Yeah. It's like a whole CD is one song. No Effects, The Decline. It's like full on story. It's very depressing.
18 minutes.
18 minutes, okay.
It's not that long. Oh. Matt said he went and it was awesome. It's 2 hours.
2 hours, nice. They played for 2 hours. That's awesome. That's
I
cool.
wish I went to that. Part of me reckons it's not their final tour and they're going to do another one in like 2 years' time.
They'll get bored. They'll get bored and they'll come out of retirement.
Encore!
Mike will be like, oh, fucking Eric was being a shithead, so, you know.
Oh, nice. Matt said they played The Decline for their last song.
Yeah, cool. That's kind of like their, I don't know, what's the word for it?
I want to say anthem, but...
It's not really their anthem.
No.
It's the closest thing. It's the closest thing that they would have put out to it actually being like a, I don't know, like an opera, an opera piece or a orchestra or a
Well, they did play it with an orchestra.
I know
on
they've
stage.
played with
That's
orchestras
really cool.
for The Decline. I know that.
If you haven't seen it, look it
A
up.
punk rock fucking orchestra performance. It's kind of sounds really weird when you say it like that, but it's pretty cool, especially if you like old punk bands. Mm-hmm. So anyway, look, enough of a sidetrack there, because we're gonna go put this one together. So
Yeah, I'm tired.
Christine's tired. I'm hungry. Have nachos. Yeah, man. Nachos are the bomb, man.
They are pretty good.
Get some good salsa, some sour cream and cheese, and freaking traditional corn chips and stuff. Like, hell yeah. Okay, so we got a H610 motherboard. So these are the cheaper motherboards, but it's not going to be a problem unless we're going to be plugging in more serious hardware than what we are tonight. So this board here has all of the fundamentals that we want to see on a cheap board. So I'll go through the features here quickly. So we've got 8 pins of CPU power there. Got a nice little aluminium heat sink there on the MOSFET BRM. Obviously we've got our LGA 1700 socket there. We've got 1, 2, 3 fan headers. We've got 4 RGB headers, USB 3, 4 SATA ports, 2 M2 slots. Around the back here we got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built in, plus we've got another 6 USB ports, including 2 USB 3s and 4 USB 2s. We've got some other display outputs. We won't actually be using these because we've got a graphics card. but it's for people who just going to plug a cheap i3 in there or something like that and use the standard outputs for the desktop. But fundamentally, it's got Wi-Fi, it's got 2 M2 slots for easy storage upgradability, and it's got at least 3 fan headers and a nice heatsink there on the MOSFET and VRM. So basically this bit here, this is where it gets hot when you plug a CPU in, or if you plug any CPU in and you put that CPU to work, all this stuff around the CPU also gets hot. So it's important to make sure that you've got a board that's, you know, at least got a little bit of a heatsink on it, unless you're very familiar with how that board's going to run with certain hardware. And so I always, if the budget will allow, I'll always go for a board that's got at least a heatsink there on this side of the CPU. So just a little FYI. What's up?
Vietnam says proper beer food that is opposed to nachos.
Yeah. I need a shower after that.
I can see a piece of pizza hiding in there.
Yeah, I mean...
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Had sticky over that side, so I couldn't just like pull it up there. Had to like do that, so I was like, fuck you, I will just cut into the back of that. Thank you very much.
Should have just ripped it open like an animal.
Yeah, but I figured that might actually be easier what I did than that. Alrighty. Here we go. Here's our M2 drive here, so 1 terabyte. We're gonna have to. I just noticed the little offset piece isn't installed. So we need a low profile piece. You will have these in the screws that come with your motherboard. Let's install the second one as well. It's just one less thing that the customer has to think about in the future. Okay. I'll put this one down the bottom. I usually do this just because it's easier to add a second drive. You don't have to take the graphics card out or anything like that. There we go. Alright, so our RAM here, this is our Corsair Vengeance. So probably the only downside with Corsair is you just have to download their software to control the RGB properly. I think MSI software overrides the Corsair software, and that works pretty well for MSI boards. But on Asus and stuff, yeah, you don't really you don't really have much option. You can just download the software for it. If not, it just stays on rainbow mode, which is no big deal at the end of the day. I mean, it's still RAM, it's just the lighting option. But still enough to drive some people insane, I'm sure. Okay, so we've got our RAM, we've got our SSD. Now we'll do our CPU. This is our i5-12400F. Good little budget CPU there. $199. It's better. It's better than a Ryzen 5600 or a 5500. Motherboard is pretty much for muchness between AM4 B550 boards and this one here. Okay, so there she is. So you got to be very careful when you install your CPUs. Line up the little notches. There we go. It should just drop into position. Very good. That is all good to go. And then the final thing is just our cooler. So we got this one here. Just our stock cooler. That's completely fine for our 12400. You don't need to buy a aftermarket cooler for it or anything like that. Sometimes I show people I send people a quote for a budget PC build, and I don't have a cooler, and they start freaking out that there's no cooler. They'll be like, "Oh, this other person had a cooler listed. Yours doesn't. Is this cooler something I need?" Bloody hell. Bent. Oh, good.
Just chuck it at it.
Bang.
Fucking hell.
Wasted. This is going to be a little bit of a pain getting this in. Seriously? Seriously?
Do you have another one?
Yeah, I think I'll just get another one.
No, just get another one.
Yeah, I will. Here's one we prepared earlier. Perfect. See, look how easy it goes in when it's actually, like, you know, not bent. It makes a huge difference. Believe it or not. Okay. Well, there's our board all ready to go. And so that's where you can save a fair bit of money on a cheaper PC, because you don't need to buy that extra cooler, right?
Most of the time you just want it.
When you do, it's usually for aesthetics, you know. Christine's cold.
Yeah,
But
the fucking windows open.
I told her that the World Health Organization says that it's okay for a dwelling to be, 18 degrees inside. It's when it drops below 18 degrees that there's a problem. So according to the World Health Organization, it's not cold until it's 18 degrees. This is what I tell her. She doesn't like it.
No. Shut up.
Well, she reacted like that. I guess I'll never do that again.
Oh, fuck off. You will.
That's the point. That's the point. You keep reacting like that, you just chucking fuel on the fire. Alright, IO shield time. So make sure you don't slice yourself open on these things. They're quite sharp. There's the minute you think that it won't happen, that's when you'll slice yourself open. I've done it. I've done it live. I don't know which stream it was. It's an old one, but I've done it and I've done it live. So just clip around the corners there. Alright, so that's all good to go. We can turn our attention now to the power supply. Alright, so what's the deal here? It's not 80 plus gold. Is that a problem? No, not really. Not going to be a big problem for the home user doing a bit of gaming and stuff like that. The 80 plus rating is an efficiency rating. Okay, so power supplies convert AC power to DC power. So AC power out of the wall socket in your house, and then it goes into this, and then these cables here put out DC power to your computer components because they run on DC power, not AC power. So that's what this unit does. So it's a conversion of AC to DC. That's what this power supply does. And so when I say this conversion, without going into all the physics and stuff, there is a loss. Okay, so if you put, let's say you got 500 watts of power coming out of the wall, and then it goes through the power supply, and it will give you, with the 80 plus rating, it will give you at least 80% of that 500 watts out of the wall. So it'll give you 400 watts, just as an example. This power supply will power up to 500 watts DC. So it'll draw in more than 500 watts maximum from the wall. That 500 watt that it's rated on, that's how much DC power it can put out. But this is an 80 plus, like an 80 plus white, and I'm pretty sure you'd have to look up the grid that shows you, the table that shows you the exact efficiencies for each. But white is generally 80%, bronze is generally like 85%, gold is generally 90%, and platinum and titanium are like 95%. So that's efficiency. When you're looking at the quality, look for the amount of time that the company is willing to actually warrant it and replace it, like no questions asked, because that'll be a good guide for to the overall quality of the unit. Okay. Yeah. Hey Obsidian, how you going? Good to have you with us. Down here on a Saturday night in Australia anyway, depending on whereabouts in the world you're watching from. Alright, so we use our hex bolts for power supplies. So we want them to be nice and solid We don't want them sort of moving around. They have their own little fan inside them, so they sort of vibrate a bit. So it's good to have them nice and fastened. Sometimes I get a PC come in and I'll notice that the power supply will just have some sort of other screws. Sometimes it's not even. Sometimes I'll get ones that don't even have the right thread pitch bolts on there at all. Like it's completely different thread pitch, and it's just because the power supply is like kind of heavy. It's kind of holding it on an angle, and it makes you feel like the bolt that you're tightening is actually tightening, but it's actually just like sort of loose there in the hole. So, but yeah, if you use the hex bolts, they're all the same thread pitch, so you don't have to worry about ones that sort of look the same or anything like that, and they'll hold the thing in there sort of long term. Okay, and so what else do we get around here? We got some cables and stuff to tuck away and tidy up. So we got RGB fans in there. We got a little post beep speaker and some cable ties and stuff. Oh, look at all this. Alright, so I always like to get away. I always like to get rid of these wire ties.
Tim?
Yeah.
Obviously, what's the question? If in running a 4070 Ti Super with a Ryzen 7700 and DDR5, 32 gigabits RAM, etc. When I game, my GPU is never hitting 95 or anywhere close. Both CPU and GPU never go above 50-60% when gaming. Am I hitting some sort of bottleneck somewhere?
No, that doesn't sound right to me at all. You're certainly not. There's certainly not any, like, you know, what's the word for it? Any significant bottleneck with, you know, latest gen AMD CPUs and a 4070 Ti or so. Okay, there's no sort of major bottleneck there. If for whatever reason it's not going up to 100%, I don't know. You'd have to check the settings that you're using in the game and stuff like that. Maybe you need to go and run some gaming benchmarks, like run Heaven, Valley, and Superposition on it. See if it goes to 100% then. Thermark. Because yeah, I mean, there's no bottleneck. Like, there is. See, this is the thing. People don't understand about bottlenecks. It drives me crazy when people talk about bottlenecks, to be honest. Because everything has a bottleneck. There's always, like, nothing has, like, 100% no bottlenecks. That's like a pipe dream system. There's always some sort of a bottleneck. It's either your internet speed or your monitor or your actual PC hardware in some way because it's too old or whatever. But even if you get up, the latest stuff, like, you can only ever be like, 1%. You can only ever be like, 1% bottlenecked. You can't get it down to 0%. And that's the thing about it. So when people talk about bottlenecks, it's usually when we're talking about older hardware, like much older hardware. Because a 5% bottleneck or even a 10% bottleneck, when you got, cards that, like a 4070 Ti, which will run things hundreds of frames per second and stuff, 5-10%, not really a big difference in the grand scheme of things, right? So that's not really a significant bottleneck that's worth like worrying about. You got a 7700, so I mean that's pretty decent in terms of CPU. Um, some people have a lot of problems with the 7700 though, in terms of its temperature that it runs at. So you know there could be some other problems there. That's all I can sort of tell you off the top of my head. I'd have to have your system in front of me to sort of have a look at it and run some other tests on it to tell you anything more. But on the surface, no bottleneck there. Everything you've got is up to date. Okay, so you know maybe there's a 2% bottleneck or something like that. You know, from your CPU or from your RAM or whatever. But it's not. It's nothing to worry about. So look elsewhere for the problem. It's not you don't have good enough hardware or anything like that. Yeah, sometimes your bottleneck can become things like just the way that the game is, you know, the software's written and is optimized and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So then it doesn't matter how much more power you chuck at it, it's just the game or whatever you're playing is not optimized, and it doesn't really, you put more power into it and it's still fucking slow and a bit shitty. Yeah.
Obsidian says, "No, I get that, bro. Just running out of ideas. I got best internet and good monitors. It's just my system should be capable of running even Fortnite at 240. No worries on 1440p, but
Yeah.
99% lows are like 180 FPS on all lows, and 1080p. But yeah, all good, man. Cheers. I'll give some of them games a sus. Just not sure what's causing it. Maybe have a look at the settings in the game.
Yeah.
That can also
Try running the benchmarks and Firmark and stuff like that, and have a look at your CPU usage when you put some like a synthetic load on it. That's always a good thing to do, because obviously, like when people test them in different games, like we're just talking about optimization and stuff like that. But yeah, Fortnite 4070 Ti ish, 240. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem at all. And if you weren't quite there, it would just be a case of, oh, let's just tinker with the settings slightly, and we'll get ourselves stable at that. It's Fortnite, not an overly demanding game to run, but it should run really, really good, and at a high frame rate and consistent. Because that's what makes, if it lags too much in a first-person shooter like Fortnite, it's a really bad experience for anyone wanting to play. Okay, anyway, so we've got the 3 fans at the front there. So we got 3 120mm fans. There's a splitter there. There's room for another fan on that chain. I wouldn't bother. I would probably just use a secondary splitter if you wanted to add any other fans to this configuration. Okay, so there's our fans, and this is our RGB for the fans. So, let's untangle these a little bit. So one goes into the board, and then you've got pins on the end there. That goes into the other cable. and which go into the other cable. Alright, so just make the length that you need there to get to the header on the motherboard. And once again, just put a proper cable tie around those cables. Okay, just let me grab kind of need these. Okay. And so yeah, basically these cables here just sort of tuck around the side there, and then you've got your two cables here that go to the board. And so once the case is closed, they'll sort of tuck away quite nicely there. Then we've just got these cables to the motherboard. Obviously down here we're going to need motherboard, graphics card, and CPU. And these other cables, we don't actually need them. So these are just for, you know, if we bought like more RGB stuff and you needed a separate RGB controller, it would probably plug into SATA power. Also for obviously SATA hard drives and SSDs need the power cable plugged in as well. But until then, you can just sort of tuck away down there. Alright, so now everything's all organized at the back here. We can go put in our motherboard. So what have we got to do anything around here? Yes, we do. So I need to put some other offsets in place here on this board. I'm actually going to go ahead and put in the other ones that we need for a full-size board. Just because we don't know how many times this PC is going to change hands and be upgraded and messed around with in the future. There we go. So now if someone installs a full-size motherboard in this case, it won't be sort of sagging over the edges there. All right. So another comment I get a little bit of the time is, why am I using a full-size ATX case and then only a micro ATX motherboard? And the reason is you can fit a mini ITX board and all the way up in a full-size case, or at least a mid-tower case like this. And that's generally the best way to go, because you'll get a case that has the 3 fans at the front and stuff like that. It's full size, and it usually doesn't cost any significant amount more than some of the smaller cases that also have RGB fans there. So there's not really any point in sort of worrying too much about the size of the case. You can always do the cabling neatly so at the front it looks really sharp. So what I mean, got these cables here at the back, I can go ahead and we've got our front panel audio cable. Now I can sort of route this one down here behind the board there discreetly. Plug that in. There we go. And what else have we got here? We've got our front panel connector cables. Alright. So we've got HD LED. We have our reset switch. And we have our power on, and then we have our power LED. And so it's positive on the left and negative on the right, because we go left to right. Okay, and then what else have we got? We got USB 3. We can do the USB 3 in such a way there we go. There we go. So it's our fan cables, and now we need our RGB. And we've got our CPU up top. Don't forget your CPU. I did that the other night when we were diagnosing a PC, and I'm like, why isn't this thing turning on anymore? Okay, so we can chuck an extra few screws in the board there now. Because I only do 2 at first, just in case I need to route any cables kind of discreetly. All right, graphics card time. All right, so we're using slots 1 and 2. Okay. Alrighty, here's the heart and soul of our PC, our graphics card. There we go. 8 pins of CPU power, 4 display outputs. All right. Okay.
Do you have the USBs? Because I've got a
Oh,
There's a brand newie.
brand newy. Okay, cool.
So, 9 days old.
9-day-old BIOS. I'll take it.
Well, you're gonna.
Okay. So, have I put it together right? I don't know. Maybe. We ready?
Yay. Doing
Alright, so we have posted. There we go. Alright, new ME firmware. I'm fine.
good for you. And Skippy badge.
You're so aggressive tonight. What's going on?
What?
You are. You're so
No, I'm
aggressive
not.
tonight.
I am not. Liar. Liar. Fluffy meow. Hmm?
Okay, so from here we'll get Windows onto it, and yeah.
Yeah, stop rubbing yourself on my chair, dog. Hi.
Do you still have the page open?
Yeah.
Download some drivers.
Like what?
Chipset.
Anything else you want?
No, that's fine. Just chipset. That'll save a bit of time. Snappy.
Mm-hmm. I was like, why did this like what? Using this shitty old fucking
Yeah, no.
USB
This
stick.
is like the opposite. This is like the fastest USB drive that most people will ever have. Oh, this is the new Asus Wi-Fi, cheap Wi-Fi antenna. I haven't seen these in the flesh yet. Go back to full screen. So they've got a new style antenna now.
It's got sticky on it. Feels stickier.
Haha. So it's a bit of this Japanese, origami woodwork craziness. So it looks like that, and then you, haha, it's like magic.
Is it magnetic yet?
It is magnetic.
Yay!
So yeah, that's good. They've addressed some of the fundamental flaws that they had before. What? Oh yeah, I know. I was just. Just gonna screw these in, because this PC is actually getting picked up tomorrow.
Oh, is it?
Yep. So yeah, everything needs to be done tonight. I'll have it all sort of set up. Because you might be watching this, you might think, oh, but who doesn't know how to screw in a Wi-Fi antenna and stuff? But believe me, I get questions from people going, what are the gold things on the back of the motherboard for? And I'm like, have you not plugged in your Wi-Fi antennas yet? And he's like, oh, no. And they're like, oh, wow. Oh, I thought I just had bad Wi-Fi reception. And I was like, no, you haven't plugged in your antenna.
That'll do it.
Yeah, that'll definitely do it. Okay, So let's cruise on. Alright, so don't worry too much about this. It doesn't take several minutes, it just takes several seconds. Three minutes later. Nah, but in all seriousness. My graphics drivers have been deleted off my drive for some reason.
What?
That's a pain. Oh well. Oh, really?
What?
It's not detecting fucking LAN driver. Alright. So, there... Now we have a LAN driver. Oh. Oh. Oh, I don't have the LAN cable plugged in anymore. Oh wait, that should have done its thing.
That's funny.
Yes, it did do its thing. Alright, CPU-Z is just a pretty basic system utility. Crystal Disk Info tells you information about your storage devices. Crystal Disk Mark lets you test the speed. Hardware monitor does exactly what the name says. It monitors all your temperatures and stuff, gives you a readout.
Oh, fucking hell, Bailey. She just farted. You come in here just to fart, huh? Fucking dog.
Alright, so here's our benchmark apps: Superposition, Valley, and Heaven. Oh yeah, we've got Corsair RAM, so I'll install the IQ app. All right. Brisbane, Bluey's Town. Can't believe I've got a fucking cartoon character that lives in my city. What is the dealio? Okay. Set up our fan curve and we'll set up our on-screen display. So this is the overlay that you see when I run the benchmarks. So if you install MSI Afterburner and Reaver Tuner, you can come in and just follow what I do here and you can set this up for yourself. Good comparison tool. And so the CPU value there that doesn't have a number, that's just the overall CPU. And you have to set these toggle keys. If you don't set them, it won't work. And you want to adjust it so the text is a bit bigger. Okay, it's doing its thing. This doesn't even look like it's doing anything. Alright, so we're nearly done setting up most of this stuff. So alright, so that'll do its thing for a little bit. No, it's quicker than I thought. Okay. So I obviously have to use the Armory Crate uninstall tool because it didn't install properly. Yep, yep. Seriously, Armory Crate? I can fucking go to your website. Alright, so look, while this is doing its thing. Okay, so look at CPU Z here. So we got readout of our CPU. So we got our 12400F. It's the Alder Lake series. That's the little code name for it. 65 watt CPU, LGA 1700 socket, 10 nanometer, and its full name, and some more detailed information there, including the instructions. The cat's trying to jump up.
There he goes.
You are a fluffy cat with a cone of shame. Yeah, you're very fluffy, mate. Yeah. Yeah, we like you. You're okay.
Tim?
Yeah.
Mad Warrior says what's up.
Hey, Mad Warrior. How you going? Good to have you with us.
Damon says hi.
Hey, Damon. How you going?
Obsidian wants to know how's your night going anyway, man? Building a customer's PC or one for yourself?
No, customer's PC, of course. It's very rarely I'm building one for myself. I do swap my case, though, fairly frequently. But I certainly don't like buy a whole new PC for myself all the time.
Dean says, hey.
Hey, Dean. How you going? Good to have you with us. How's things out your way?
Oh, I'm so keen to go to bed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so once this is done, yeah, we'll run the gaming benchmarks on it. Won't worry about Armory Crate or anything else like that for now. I can do that like overnight. Do you know how long it takes?
Dean says, good man, just recovering from life after Japan.
Ah, okay, yeah. Oh man, jealous. Would have loved to have gone to Japan for however long you were over there for.
But struggling with man flu.
Oh, man flu. Oh no.
Oh, Bailey, you stink! She keeps coming in here and farting. It's fucking gross. That's concentrated evil that comes out of the back of you. Oh.
Okay.
Dean says Armory Crate is gross.
Oh man. I've never known like an ordinary like consumer focused piece of software that requires a special uninstall tool that you have to download separately. Like usually it's there's an uninstaller embedded.
Are you serious?
Okay, alright. So we're going to run Heaven here on high, no anti-aliasing. And then all this stuff on the screen here, we've got our GPU, that's our graphics card. The temperature, usage, clock speed, and wattage. This here, MEM in green, that's our VRAM usage and clock speed. This is our CPU temperature, usage, clock speed, and wattage. This one here is our RAM usage, and this number here below RAM, that's how many frames per second it's currently running at.
Tim?
Yeah.
Dean says he was away for 2 months, now back to business Monday.
Ah, yes. Yep.
Dean wants to know a question, what sort of monitor do you use to do the test?
For this we've just got, it's just an Asus 4K monitor, but the thing is it's all run through the capture card, so it's running at 1080p even though the monitor is a 4K monitor. Cat's doing weird shit in the background, it's distracting me. But yeah, I mean, we don't really need to test out the monitor itself. We're just mainly worried about what the hardware is capable of outputting, and just putting it under a bit of load. So yeah, I mean, I could have it hooked up natively to the 4K monitor and stuff, and it would give us, you know, it would run Heaven and Valley at 4K as well. But for all intents and purposes, it's fine to have a couple of 1080p ones there, and then superposition that runs in its own kind of compatibility mode. So you can, even if you've just got a 1080p display output, you can simulate what 4K resolution looks like for that benchmark. So that's why I always run 3 of them.
Dean says fair, I was only supposed to be away for 1 month and made friends with someone. He wanted a whole PC set up in his place in Japan, so paid for me to stay.
Oh wow, Jesus, that's all right.
That's pretty cool.
That's all right.
Yes. Dean says so food when I recover from man flu.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
TV Buds Bunny says, hey guys.
Hey man, how you going? Good to have you with us. Just running a few basic benchmarks here on our system. We've got a 12400F and a 4060 Ti on a relatively entry-level Asus H610M motherboard. But yeah, it's all running pretty sweet. How's everything else going? We've got a pending restart. I'll just move that one along. Because yeah, there's usually cumulative updates with Windows. So once you do Windows Update, you might have to go in and run it again and again to get a couple of cumulative updates. A lot of them are security related updates, especially with Windows 11. And the reason is just the way that we use PCs has kind of changed from 10 years ago. A lot more online shopping and stuff. So the security features are mainly to keep you safe when buying stuff online. So the updates are things that you generally want. They cop a lot of slack because when they release an update and it interferes with software that people are running, then people start having a big meltdown about it. And I understand why. But it's not logical to write off every single Windows update just because you had a bad experience with one that came through. Especially if you're doing a lot of stuff online. Okay, so that's all looking pretty good. Let's run, we'll run Valley and then we'll run Superposition. So Valley we do on Ultra with max anti-aliasing. Alright, so that was Valley there on Ultra with max anti-aliasing. And then the last one we do is superposition. We do it at the 4K setting. And so yeah, this is cool because this will let you test your 4K gaming performance even if you don't have a 4K monitor. Well, approximate your gaming performance. Yeah.
George says,
Hey George, how you going? Good to have you with us as always. How's your week been?
George says he's been busy.
Ah, good. Always good to be busy.
He says stressful.
Yeah, that's the other side of that, right? But hopefully it pays off. That's the important thing.
His father passed away.
Ah, okay. That kind of busy. Well, that's not good. That is not good. That's the kind of thing you don't get back. Well, I'm really sorry about that, mate. Hope all's well. Hope there's none of the associated problems or anything like that. Hopefully it's as problem-free as possible. Okay.
He says he's in a dark place.
Yeah. Yeah, that sucks, mate. Not good at all. Alright, well I'm gonna start this Armory Crate installation. I think I need Cinebench as well. And so I might actually just do the stress test off camera. I'm sure you can all trust me that I do the stress test. Oh no, I'm not doing the stress test. The stress test's about me covering my ass, not you. You don't have to worry, because if you buy a PC from me, if something goes wrong, then you make it my problem again. So it's not your problem. Well, it is, but yeah. Okay. Oh, I don't have Thermark either. Huh. Okay. So Thermark's what we use for the stress test here. And so this we'll peg the graphics card there at 99% and run a bit of power through our system. And we can look at the temperatures there, and as you can see, no issues there with our temperature. Our graphics card can get up to 83 degrees. Our CPU can get up to 100 degrees. So plenty of headway. But yeah, like I said, I'll actually do the stress test, but right now I just want to let Armory Crate install. I don't want to have to run the freaking uninstall tool like, you know, at 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that. Because yeah, this customer's picking this one up tomorrow. They paid for it. They paid for it on Thursday. They pick it up on Sunday. So we don't muck around. And when we do, we're very sorry. Alright, well, I think that's where we'll probably leave it for tonight. So, yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all in the next video.